Hey guys, Marcus Catkin back for another daily fantasy update. Yesterday we talked about the Minnesota Vikings and some of the waiver wire pickups there with McKinnon, Asiata, Jarius Wright, Teddy Bridgewater. So today I wanted to go over basically the rest of your waiver wire pickups for this week, some other good guys that should be on your hot list. First up is Eli Manning. We got to start taking this guy seriously. I mean, 3 straight weeks of multiple touchdown passes. He's starting to become almost a borderline quarterback one now. I think if you're one of those teams out there that was rolling with Kirk Cousins or maybe RG3 back before he got hurt, Tom Brady, maybe even a Cam Newton who's struggling a little bit, this is a guy you want to pick up and kind of have on your bench and maybe put him in as a bye week fill-in guy or maybe a matchup based guy. But I think he's a guy that's really going to help your team if you have one of those lower tier quarterback ones. Next up, Darrin Reaves, Carolina Panthers. I mean, hey, he's the only running back that's quote-unquote healthy right now for Carolina, so he's got to have some value in that aspect. Long-term, obviously no value there because of Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, but should D. Willie miss some time, Darrin Reaves is going to be the guy to get the ball for Carolina. And anytime you have one guy who's going to get all the carries, worst case scenario, he's a flex play option. Next up, we got Andre Williams from the Giants. He's the clear handcuff to Rashad Jennings, and Jennings has looked amazing so far this year, but has been getting a ton of work, and Jennings isn't exactly the most, injury, staying away from injuries the best out there. So Andre Williams, a guy to remember. As the year picks up, he may get more carries just because of the workload that Jennings is getting, or in the event of a Jennings injury, could become a top 20 running back. Next up, a pair of San Diego Chargers receivers, and not the ones you would normally be thinking with Keenan Allen and Antonio Gates and Ladarius Green, but we're going to talk about Eddie Royal, a guy that's had 4 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks and is currently your number 8 fantasy wide receiver. Really taken over in the short passing game once Ryan Matthews went down, and then even more so now with Danny Woodhead being out. He is the short passing game guy, and at least for the moment, he's probably the Charger that you want to own and should be a must-start for you, basically in all formats. Next up, though, a little bit deeper guy from the Chargers, Malcolm Floyd. It's another guy, he's kind of their deep threat, but another guy we should start taking more seriously. 11 points in Week 1 in standard scoring leagues, 9 points in each of the last 2 weeks. Week 2 was kind of a bust, but the last few weeks he's been getting it done, so a good guy that I would probably pick up and stash away for now just to kind of see what happens. Last up, we got Robert Woods. 20 targets over the last 2 weeks, so the guy has been getting a ton of work. And now we see Kyle Orton come in, a new quarterback, and sometimes with new quarterbacks comes new favorite wide receivers. So it may not necessarily be Sammy Watkins or, I know 20 targets was coming from E.J. Manuel, but those targets could move over to Robert Woods. We could kind of see him break out with a new quarterback. So just something to pay attention to there. He is the starting receiver in Buffalo, opposite of Watkins, and could be the favorite guy there with the new quarterback. Don't forget to subscribe below for my daily fantasy updates and follow me on Twitter @MarcusCatkin.